I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy.
Well,
Had to work
AIW
hard, struggle
fans,
just to
a
be
treat
me.
here. Jimmy
Had to
Zerro
rise
from
up just
Allstar
so they could see
Wrestling. He
me.
represents the
Do what
Eastern
I had to
States.
do
He's
to
the Eastern
make
States
it.
champion, and he's also currently the All-Star Champions, All-Star Tag Team Champions, one half. Jimmy Zerro, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here.
It's great to have you. Now, we got you on because you are going to be crossing the borders, representing your Eastern States title, and all through Victoria from the 25th to is it the 28th or the
I
27th?
believe we got one more show on the 1st of March. So from the 25th to the 1st, that's in Sydney. The 28th and the 1st are both in Sydney,
Oh, you're
New South Wales. But
all over the shop like a mini
it's,
tour, mate.
we're everywhere, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll flash all those cards up at the moment. And on the 25th, you fight Sid Parker. On the
Correct, yes, 25th.
on the 25th, you've got Sid Parker. On the 26th, you've got another Eastern States rival, Adam Brooks. On the 28th,
Yeah.
you defend the tag team champions between who's your tag team partner?
My brother Aries.
Aries, yeah, Aries and yourself will be taking on Luke Watts and Randy Chambers. So with the tag team titles on the line. But the
Hmm.
one I'll be going to see you live in person will be when you face JJ Avery in Victoria, Friday, February 27th in Bundora,
Bar 8, I think it is, yeah.
Bar 8. Yeah.
Bandura.
So you're looking forward to the tour, bro?
Well, I'm going to be very jet lagged. I'm going to be very sore, but I'm a bit of a workhorse, so I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm also really looking forward to it.
Well, why don't you tell us why you'll be jet lagged and why you're a bit of a workhorse? Where are you now, mate?
Well, it's currently midnight. I'm here in London, just off the back of a successful UK trip. I just had a match last night against Harry Sefton for UKPW. I've had 3 matches here so far and a bunch of training. But yeah, just came over here and met some of my family, seen some of my family, done a bit of wrestling, training, networking. Can't wait to be back. Hope to be back later this year. But yeah, it's just been a great experience. And now I get to go back. And then the same night I land, I get to wrestle a complete psycho in Sid Parker, hopefully survive and not die. And then the next day I got Adam Brooks, which is going to be even worse. And then the next day I got JJ Avery. So kind of feels like all odds are stacked against me, but it is what it is. And that's how diamonds are made under pressure.
That's it. And you mentioned you're over in the UK. Now, how does that compare to wrestling in Australia? What's the differences?
Oh, look, I mean, there's a bunch of promotions here. There's wrestling like almost every day of the week, especially now that like the holidays are on here. But honestly, it's just incredible, like how a lot of people here are making a full-time living off wrestling, just by doing multiple shows a week and then selling merch. There's such a huge scene here. And it sort of does explain why Australian wrestling is sort of considered a hidden gem because obviously, Australian wrestling isn't as prominent and well known as it is in other places such as England and America. But yeah, just being in a country where wrestling is just so huge has been something that's been quite eye-opening. It was a similar case in Japan as well, but even here in England, it's pretty crazy to see.
Yeah, you mentioned Japan. Now, I'm going to bring this up. You are the youngest Australian to debut in Korea. I want to hear about that definitely, but also what I want to hear about is you're the youngest Australian to debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You got to tell us about that experience, mate.
Oh, well, yeah, no, both experiences are pretty crazy. The Korea one, my head coach, Keegan, he asked all of us trainees if any of us wanted to wrestle overseas. And sure enough, like a lot of us put up our hands, we sent through our resumes, and luckily I got picked and got selected. And sure enough, had my debut. That was my international debut. So my first time wrestling overseas. It was an incredible experience, like just a lot of fun, met a lot of very cool people. And I am proud to announce I'll be going back to Korea this year for May 9th for Wrestle Nation 2. Dolph Ziggler is on the card. Tajiri is on the card. It's at the KBS Arena, 3,000 people. It'll probably sell out. So that's a huge accomplishment and something I'm really looking forward to. So I can't wait to go there. In terms of the New Japan Pro Wrestling debut, this one's even more of a funny story. We were in Shibuya in Tokyo, and Keegan had decided he just wanted to go to like a pub. And so I was only 18 at the time, and the legal drinking age there was like 20. So I'm a bit apprehensive, and nor am I not much of a drinker anymore. Like I quit drinking this year. Sure enough, I go in, I have a few beers, and sure enough, as we're sitting in the bar, uh, along walks Bad Luck Fale. So out of anyone you'd want to meet in the pub, as an Australian wanting to try and wrestle New Japan Pro Wrestling, it would be him. So sure enough, we meet him, and I mean, he's just like genuinely such a nice fella. He shouts us a few drinks and stuff, and we just talk to him about wrestling, and that was it. About a week later, it was announced that we'd be wrestling New Japan Tamashi in New Zealand, and yeah, once again, an incredible experience. Wrestled 2 matches over there, one for the dojo show as well. But yeah, like just two incredible things to tick off the bucket list.
Yeah, amazing. Don, he's making it sound like you're hanging out in the wrong pubs, mate.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I don't drink either, like at all. So I always miss out on the cool pub stories. So yeah, no, that's awesome. Just networking, and that's the that's the biggest key to wrestling I've found from talking to people and meeting guys who have gone and done different things. It's you can be, you obviously have to have a very decent degree of wrestling, but to meet people and interact with people, that's how they get links to go and do things like that. So it's really cool to hear those stories from man as young as yourself as well. You in your early part of your wrestling career. We were speaking before, and you're saying you started training at 16, so you do have a few years of working and training under your belt. But even still, in the grand scheme of things, very, very early in your career to have these opportunities, grab them by the horns and go for it. They say South Korea, New Japan, you're now in England doing a lot of the tours. One of the guys from Perth, Aaron O'Malley, he regularly goes and does they do like the holiday tours and stuff. He goes there and spends a couple of weeks just wrestling after wrestling after wrestling. And to do it that often is only amazing for your learning and your abilities. The cool thing about this interview as well is the fact that we've gotten to talk to you. The reason we do this pod in general is, or the reason I started was so that I could open my eyes to more of what's happening in Australian wrestling. A guy like yourself, and please don't take this as a slight at all, is I hadn't heard much or anything about you. And then Scars comes to me and he goes, "Oh, we're going to get Jimmy Zerro on the pod."
I came to you excitedly saying we're going to get Jimmy Zerro on the pod. Let's get that out.
Yeah, very excitedly, and I was like, "Oh, cool." And again, not any kind of slight. I was like, I don't know Jimmy Zerro. And then after learning all this stuff about all the things you've done, I'm just like, why doesn't everyone know this kid's name? Especially with the way people want to like get onto the people who before they become like, the big names in Australian wrestling, to hear all this stuff that you've gone and done. It's amazing because it creates this at, again, such a young age, this knowledgeable, these connections that you've made is only good stuff for Australian wrestling. So yeah, thank you for coming.
I can tell that Dom's excited. You can hear it in his voice, mate. So Jimmy, we talked about where you've been, but you started training at 16, quite young, as we mentioned. You trained with Tajiri at Kaishu Pro, and you started training at Allstar Wrestling. So tell us a little bit about the All-Star shows and the All-Star system, because you seem to run quite regular shows, even when you're not on tour.
Yeah, I mean, All-Star Wrestling is like, I think last year we ran something like 50 shows or something pretty crazy. It's been, yeah, maybe even more. But I started training when I was 16. Most promotions here in Sydney don't really start training until 18. So I really wanted to get my foot in the door. And sure enough, like by the time I turned 18, I wrestled in South Korea, Japan, New Zealand, getting those extra repetitions in, which, as you mentioned earlier, is just so like crucial, especially when you're starting out. A lot of it is just repetitions and repetitions and repetitions, and really honing it in, and just getting that experience. And I think that was a huge thing. But yeah, we run like monthly shows usually at the Padstow RSL, which is like our home venue. And then we do a bunch of like regional shows, and we do around like 2 or 3 tours, like 5-day tours a year. So it is quite a busy schedule. And then we do 4 Penrith Collecticons, which are big shows in front of a whole Collecticon audience. But like overall, it's really quite a full-on schedule a lot of the time. Yeah.
Yep. And you guys are selling a bunch of merch and stuff like that to the punters.
That's it.
Yeah, great stuff.
That's how we run.
Well, I can't believe that Don hasn't heard of you with 10,000 followers on Instagram. I mean, what is going on? But one person
I'm
that has
trying,
heard
bro.
of you.
I'm trying. Now I know. This is what happens. You get to a point and you learn things, you get excited about things, and now I know. And I'll be definitely keeping more of an eye out.
Don will be commenting all over your page like a drunk uncle now.
The best thing is as well the lineup that you have like coming up for wrestling. The likes of Sid Parker. Sid's an immaculate worker. He's been doing it for so long now. You're gonna whatever happens with that, eyes will be on you, and any kind of learning that you just wrestling with Sid, the learning you will get is crazy. And then straight after that, you've got Adam Brooks, a guy who's currently popping up in TNA all the time. He's all over the States. He's making that big push to, from what I understand, he was almost there when COVID hit, and that sort of derailed him, and now he's back on that upward climb. So then after that, you've got a tag team match with Luke Watts and Randy Chambers, who are guys who wrestle in Slam, and that's one of the bigger promotions in Australia. The guys are getting crazy numbers live and online. And then you've got JJ Avery in Victoria, who I think is another guy who's sort of in that level of like just an up and comer. He's going to explode in the next little while. Like that is a really superstar run. All eyes are going to be on you. After doing that, who is not left, but who is the guy where you're like, I've just had this great run. Who do I want to wrestle? Who does Jimmy Zerro want to put in his resume as having a match with?
100%. I mean, like Sid Parker and Adam Brooks are definitely going to be on there. Those are guys who I grew up watching. They're incredible wrestlers, and it's going to be very challenging to have to wrestle them back to back. Especially while jet lagged and battered and bruised. But I reckon the number one on that list in terms of my resume on who to wrestle, he's called me out a few times. I've called him out a few times. But Robbie Eagles, he'd be the number one. He's the local Sydney boy. He's the guy who really sort of cemented it for me in terms of wanting to become a wrestler. I always knew I wanted to be a wrestler ever since I saw it when I was 5 years old. But seeing him, against Travis Banks at the Star Casino back in 2018, when I was 11 years old, that really cemented it for me. Like, okay, this is what I want to do 100%. And it's achievable. It's achievable as a boy from Sydney.
Yes.
And yeah, that'd be the number one match to have.
So I'm throwing it out there. PWA, the kid's got talent. Book it. Robbie Eagles, Jimmy Zerro.
I mean, he's been all over Australasia, for God's sake. What do you want? What do you want?
Yeah. I want to see it happen.
And Europe.
And Europe. And so from this point, though, like I say, we've gone, like Robbie Eagles is the dream match. What are your plans moving forward? Like say, you've got, the next few weeks are pretty chock-a-block. But in the next year, the next couple of years, what are the plans for Jimmy Zerro?
Honestly, like just touching on what you said, you put it like you didn't really know who I was, and I think that's something where it's really like that's my goal. Like I want to wrestle more, I want to expand my horizons, I want to get myself more out there, and really make it like known who I am. I don't want to keep sort of remaining hidden. I want to travel more, back to South Korea this year, hopefully back to England, hopefully a trip to America, wherever, really just try and get it done, and really try and cement myself as someone to look out for. Obviously, I am still so young, but hopefully, like with a resume that I've been so lucky enough to have so young into my career, hopefully it's something where, more people start paying attention and noticing who I am. Obviously, like since I've been here in the UK, this last week has been insane for Australian wrestling. With the Grand Slam and everything, and all those familiar faces from Australia making their debut there in the ring and like on TV and in sold out arenas. It's really quite an inspiring thing, and it's a huge thing for Australian professional wrestling. And I think it's only really now, like being here in the UK after shows, like I've been talking to fans, and the amount of fans who know a lot about Australian wrestling is insane. And I'm not just talking about like the big names that we're so lucky enough to add. I'm talking about like other names, people who are yet to travel from Australia, local names who like I would think only I would know in the room, but like other people know them too, and it's really sick. And I really hope like Australian wrestling can keep expanding and people realize like, yes, we are kind of hidden away geographically, but like, man, we've got so much good talent. Like it's genuinely insane the talent we have. Across all of Australia and all sorts of different promotions. We truly are. Like we have some of the best wrestlers in the world. And I think I remember Grayson Wallace said it. He was talking about how like Australian professional wrestlers, we are just more hungry. And it's true because in Australia, like no one's making a full-time living off it here in Australia, right? We all have jobs, we all have like other things, and we all have to make time for wrestling and make time for the gym and make time for nutrition. But like it's kind of that sense of only the strong survive. Like only the people who really want it in Australian wrestling are here in Australian wrestling.
Mhm.
And like that just shows you like this is the top of the top of people who would like determined to make it, and they take this shit seriously. And I think that's why we've got so much good talent, because the rest of the people who aren't willing to do that, they don't make it. They piss off. They don't get through. But those who do, they stay and they keep grinding. And I think that's what makes Australian wrestling so cool and so special.
Yeah, it's definitely a very much a thing of the people who just want to do it for the grandeur and rock up, look at me, I'm a superstar without putting in the work. They disappear very quickly. It's only the ones that are like, you know what, I actually want to be very good at this. They put in that hard work, and it presents itself as opportunity and reward. So yeah, you're bang on with that, and it looks like, dude, you can't. I don't know how much more hard work you can put in, flying around the world, and yeah. So I look forward to the evolution of Jimmy Zero over time. I'll be definitely keeping a close eye. I'm just honestly keen to see these next matches. Hopefully, they're available online. Not everything, unfortunately, in Australian wrestling is easily available, but a lot of stuff is. So hopefully, this stuff can get out there, and I'm keen to check it out.
Yeah, you guys are available on YouTube, aren't you, Jimmy?
We are available. We do post like highlights and stuff, but I'm keen to get some full matches out. I was talking to my opponents, after the matches, and they were like, "Yeah, I was trying to watch, you wrestling, and there's only like 3 of my full matches available, like in English. There's a bunch of them like in Japanese and like Korean as well, but in terms of English, there's only like 3 of my full matches out there. So I want to really try and get some more. But these upcoming matches against Sid and Adam Brooks and JJ and the tag matches as well. Like, I'm jet lagged, I'm sore, but like, if it's any time to go all out, like these are the matches, man. Like, there's no excuses here. There's a lot of eyes on these guys, and they're doing great things, and they're big names in Australian wrestling. And so, if there's a time for me to prove myself, man, like, I have to keep going until the wheels fall off. I'm not holding back here. I'm just gonna keep going.
Keep the wheels on though, because we want to see a long journey of Jimmy Zero. But I get the sentiment. The sentiment is I'm gonna give it 100%. So I love that passion.
Just for this week. Yeah, just for this week, the wheels can come off, but they got to stay on overall. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Just get some duct tape and you'll be right.
That's it.
Well, it's been great talking to you, Jimmy. And you are all over Victoria and New South Wales this next week. So it'll be great to see you. I'm going to catch you Friday, but you can catch him on the 25th, wrestling Sid Parker, 26th, wrestling Adam Brooks, the 27th, wrestling JJ Avery, and on the 28th, defending his tag team titles with his brother Aries against Luke Watts and Randy Chambers. So that'll be fuck, man. That is a fistful of matches. Hey.
Yeah. A lot of travel, a lot of matches, a lot of tiredness, but that's the way it is, man. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, it's great to hear from you. Look, I'm sorry, Don didn't know about you, but 10,000 followers, 10,000 people can't be wrong.
gonna sting me.
You're all over the world. You're all over the world, mate, and many more people are going to know about you very soon. Hey, so it's great to see you smashing it and keeping up the grind, bro.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me on here. This is really cool.
Appreciate you giving up your time. It's like what 1 a.m. over there.
By now it is, yeah. But
Yeah.
hey, it'll help with the jet lag when I get back. I'll be slightly more adjusted.
The changeover would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's not keep the champ up anymore, Don. Thanks a lot, Jimmy, and we'll see you back in on Australian soil very soon.
I'll see you soon.
See you, man. Thank you.